Hi, welcome to Ken's Games Collection. Recently I had the opportunity to meet Tim from Rage Lane Gaming and Greg the Lone Wanderer. It was actually my first weekend off work in probably about 8 months, so it was great to be able to have a weekend off. Great to meet them. We went to a retro game store here over at Greenslopes in our hometown of Brisbane. Eddie's Retro Game Store, I think it's called. We all picked up a couple of games, which was really cool. We had lunch and we started sharing stories about everything related to gaming, especially the stuff where we regret, I think we all regret selling stuff, parts of our collection. And it kind of prompted me to do this video talking about the Dreamcast. This story has actually been eating away at me for about 20 years. We have to go back to 1999 when the Dreamcast was released in America. I was so hyped for this thing leading up to that. I read so much about it in magazines. I didn't mind the Saturn, but this thing, the Dreamcast, was going to be based on the Naomi board, which was in the arcades, and that Naomi board was just unbelievable. And that's for me where all the hype came from, because I knew what that thing could do in the arcades and to have that replicated in the Dreamcast and have it in home. That was it for me. I was hooked on it, and I just couldn't wait for this thing to get released here in Australia. Look, there were so many delays with that thing getting released in Australia. It got released in America 9/9/99. It was supposed to be released soon after that here in Australia, but the dates changed so much leading up to that date, and the final straw for me was when it got released in America on the 9th of September. Aussiesoft announced that it was going to be probably delayed until about November or early December here of that year, 1999, and that was it for me. I was like, screw this, I am going to get my Dreamcast from America. I went on to Amazon, I ordered the Dreamcast, I ordered Sonic Adventures, I ordered Soul Calibur, and I think one of those memory cards, I think it was, it would have been. So I ordered that. It was, the Australian dollar back then was not too bad at that time. I think, if I remember correctly, paid a little bit more for it, but I was just so sick and tired of Sega Aussiesoft just screwing us around. And I just wanted to get this thing at release. 2 weeks later, I get it. The copy of Sonic Adventures that I got did not work at all. There was a bad batch of Sonic Adventures, and I had known that after the game had been shipped. I started seeing stuff on the internet, so I did order another one just in case the one I was sending wasn't going to work. And luckily I did order another one, because the one they sent me didn't work, so I actually shipped that back. So for probably about 2 weeks after I got the Dreamcast, I was playing Soul Calibur. That was it, but I was having a ball with that game. Finally, the good copy of Sonic Adventures came. I was happy as Larry with that. And over the course of, I think it was the 2 years of the lifespan of the Dreamcast, I would order all my games from Amazon America, which I didn't mind because they had more stuff coming out on a regular basis than what Sega Aussiesoft here had coming out. It was just trickles, and it wasn't that popular, to be honest with you. Sony had really made a lot of road in gaming here in Australia. Nintendo was still doing its own thing, and the Dreamcast was just sort of slowly falling behind. And I remember that day when I read on the internet that Sega wasn't going to make consoles anymore, and I was absolutely devastated by that news, that this company I had loved and trusted since the Sega Master System, the Mega Drive, and the Saturn, they weren't going to make their own consoles anymore. And the thing that really hurt most for us diehard Sega fans, they were going to make games for Nintendo and Sony. I just couldn't get my head around the fact that they weren't doing consoles anymore. I can look back now and understand why, but at the time I was so passionate about Sega, and felt that they really screwed us over by stopping making consoles. Um, I've got laryngitis, by the way, but the hell with that. I need to talk about this story. So out of my frustration with Sega, I decided that was it. They screwed me over, so I would just get rid of everything Sega. Massive mistake, I know, but back then that's just the way I felt, that they had betrayed us, and I would just get rid of everything Sega. And that's what I did. I think by that stage I only had a couple of Master System games and Mega Drive games. Saturn, I think by that stage I've already gotten rid of a lot of stuff to pay for Dreamcast games. You got to remember, this is from America. I think the Australian dollar back then might have been 72 cents and a dollar. I think somewhere around that mark. So I was really paying a bit more, but I didn't mind because at the time the games were great. So I made the decision to bundle the Dreamcast, and I think I would have had either between 25 to 30 games on the Dreamcast. A great cross section of different games, RPGs. It had some great RPGs on it. It was just a great machine, but I felt, you screwed me, Sega, so I'm just going to sell things. So I bundle all this thing together, take photos, put it on eBay. I think it was on bidding, so I think after 7 days, I think I sold it for, I think it was over $600. I would have been losing money, no doubt about that, but I just wanted to get rid of it. As soon as the auction ended and the person paid for it, I boxed it up and I sent it off. And immediately after I sent it off, I was like, what the hell have I done? What did I do? This was a system I loved so much. It's probably my all-time favorite system, and here I was boxing it up, sending it off to somebody here in Australia. They got a really good bargain. And the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, why did I do that? What have I done? But I had already done it. I already sold it, sent it off, and 2 weeks later I get a thing in the mail, one of those cards in the mail where I had to go to the post office. I'm thinking, what's going on here? Why do I need to go to the post office to pick something up? I go there and it's the box that I sent them the Dreamcast and all these games in. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? Why is this thing being sent back to me 2 weeks later? I didn't know what was going on, and I think 2 days later, I still had it sealed and boxed. I didn't unbox it. I was just really puzzled by that. 2 days later, the person that bought it contacted me, and they were, I think, overseas while this thing was being sent to them, or they were in the state or somewhere, and they asked, they'll pay the postage again if they can resend it. So I had this opportunity where I could have just paid this person back and kept the Dreamcast and all those games. And I did actually think about that for a while, but I honored the commitment that I sold it, and I would resend it back to this person. And it was one of the biggest regrets in gaming for me. And I've said this in another video before. Seriously, think long and hard before you even think about selling parts of your collection off, because this is a story that's been eating away at me for the last 20 years. And I'm here now sharing it with you in the hope that anybody that's looking at selling off parts of their collection just realize what you're actually doing, because it's still, to this day, it's the biggest regret in gaming for me. And the sad thing is, every now and again I will go on eBay just in the hope of looking to see if that American Dreamcast and all those games may magically show up, which it's never going to happen. The person that got that got a fantastic deal, probably 30 of the, I think about, 25 to 30 of the best Dreamcast games released. And I had this thing back in my hands where I could have just refunded the person's money, but I honored the agreement that and I sent it back to him. But yeah, it's just unbelievable. And to look even now on eBay and that vague hope that someday I might see it. That's never going to happen. I don't know what happened to the collection. I just hope it went to a good home. So a few years ago, I actually seriously considered recollecting Dreamcast games. I've got about 4 European Dreamcast games. I would rather collect for the American Dreamcast. I do like the music jewel cases that they came in, and that was that's how I bought them back in the day. It was always from Amazon America. I did prefer those smaller jewel cases. The bigger ones, actually, they break very easily. But it's just a question of the pricing on these things now has just gone up so much. Everybody wants to collect for it. But yeah, I mean, it was a silly mistake to make, selling off the Dreamcast and all those games. So yeah, if you're actually considering selling off parts of your collections, you really need to think long and hard about it before you do it. Because like I said in other videos, you will regret it. And this is a regret that I've held for the last 20 years. And it's still eating away at me now. And I still go on eBay in the hope that I may find that Dreamcast and all those games that I sold about 20 years ago. But that's never going to happen. My voice is going. I've got laryngitis, but I just needed to share this story with you. Thanks for watching. If you got similar stories, just tell me in the comments down below. See you next time, guys. Bye.